So, what the records are asking us is, do you have faith in your feelings? Do you have faith in your feelings? And the word feelings, could mean so many different things. But what they're talking about specifically is the emergent knowing, almost like an intuitive knowing. So we're kind of talking about intuition here. Do you have faith in your feelings? And I'd love to just dive into this a little bit more to kind of expand on what they are asking us here. And so when we start working with intuition, and really intuition is a great word, and it's also more than that. It's almost like when we start working with different forms of intelligence, different forms of knowing, right? Knowing something in your gut, knowing something in your body, knowing something intuitively, knowing something from these other intelligences, rather than just the reasoning mind. When we start to work with these other systems of decision making, other systems of knowing, it can be a real challenge to not spin your wheels trying to explain what you already know. It can be a real challenge to not spend so much energy trying to explain what you already know to be true in yourself. So you can sit with that. Could probably sit with that for a long time. What they're saying here is there's this tendency, because we're so, and we're so connected to our minds, to thinking, to this one way of knowing, to the reasoning, to the logic. It's so, encouraged. That's like what we're taught to do. I'm so sorry. My nose itches so bad. Oh my gosh. It's allergy season for sure. Okay. My gosh, that was distracting me. Okay, hopefully it's gone. So when, we are so encouraged to think things through, to understand why we're doing everything, to really get to the root of stuff. And in some contexts, absolutely, that's incredibly valuable. It's so helpful to be able to reason through things, to understand why, to get to the root cause of something, etc. That's extremely helpful in, infinite different ways. And when we're working with intuition, right, or other intelligences, other ways of knowing something, that can be really distracting, right? The habit of reasoning can become distracting, and it can pull us out of our experience of connecting to a different form of knowing that doesn't always work well, that doesn't gel well with the reasoning mind. And this isn't to say throw logic out the window and to never wonder why something is happening. Absolutely not. We want to keep that. And in the moments where you're having a feeling, you have a hunch about something, where you're trying to connect with your intuition, you have a sense about something, in those moments, can you ask that temptation? Can you notice the habit? Can you notice the invitation the need to explain this other knowing. 1 second. So in those moments, right, when we're trying to connect to a deeper knowing, perhaps, or a different kind of understanding, a different kind of knowing, a sense, a feeling, can you notice that invitation to want to explain it, to want to understand, to want to rationalize the feeling? Like, okay, I'm feeling this, so let's explain why I'm feeling that. How do I know? Let's gather some evidence to prove that this feeling is true, to prove that it's safe to believe that feeling. And so the key, the trick is, can you put that invitation on pause for a moment and just stay with the feeling as though just for a moment you trust it implicitly? What if just for right now, just for one moment, we played with the possibility that what you're feeling is valid in its own right without an explanation that's very logical, that's very sound? What if we just sat with this? What if we just held this feeling, this sense, as though it was equally as valid as something that this other intelligence could have arrived at through its means of reasoning? And this is something that you can kind of take in. I invite you to take this in and play with it on your own and see how it feels to you. So use your own judgment, use your own almost like sense of resonance to determine, does this land for you? Don't take my word for it. It's just an invitation to play with having faith in our feelings, trusting our feelings just in a moment, just for 1 second, to take a break from the need, the almost compulsive need to rationalize everything. Just for 1 second, can you sit in the feeling that doesn't have an explanation, that just is? And what would that be like to just hold that feeling in all of its mystery, to hold that feeling and to be inside the unknown for a moment? And you don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to make your decisions based off of that feeling if that's not comfortable. You can absolutely still use your logic and your reasoning, your thinking, as your main system of decision making and intelligence. But this is just a practice. It's just a way, it's like a gateway into feeling a little bit more deeply and to see if there's anything there for you. Does that hold a gift for you? The sitting with the mysteriousness, the unknown of an emergent feeling that has no explanation. Does that hold a gift for you if you can become very present to it? If you can trust it just for a moment? Is there something there for you? So that's where I'm going to leave you for today. And if you sit with this, if you feel into this, if you think about this, I'd love to know how this lands for you. And if you try it, I'd love to know how your experience was. So feel free to leave a comment or send me a message through my website, ninarucci.com. I'd love to connect with you. And until next time, I'm wishing you well. Namaste.